But it really goes back to 1966 and Francis Chichester sailing around the world. So this is the first time somebody had really sailed around the world for the sake of sailing around the world. And he had one planned stop in Sydney to reprovision, and in fact did a little bit more than that and made some fairly serious modifications to the boat. And that was followed by Alec Rose, who had a couple of stops the following year, and then the race was on. The race was to be the first person to sail around the world without any stops, without any assistance. And so that was the original Golden Globe. There were a lot of people just setting out to do it, and the Sunday Times jumped on the bandwagon and pulled everybody together and said, well, there's no start line or start time, but we'll offer some prizes for the first person to get round and the fastest person to get around. And that was the creation of the Golden Globe Race in 1968. Famously won by Sir Robin Knox-Johnston, or Robin Knox-Johnston at the time. As with subsequent editions, the first thing was to manage to finish, and to manage to finish without any stops. And of course, he was the only person who did finish in 1969. And with that, he won the event. So for young sailing kids of sort of 8 or so years old, which was me, that was an inspiration. Francis Chichester, then Robin Knox-Johnston. So for me, that's what it's all about. That's what the race is all about. Sailing as it was in 1968, pretty much, except for safety features and communication. So it's taking it right back to the individual, the sea, the boat, classic boats from that era, with low technology and without the GPS and modern instrumentation. And that sailing by the sun, by navigation with sextant, is what it's all about for me. I have done a number of offshore races before. I've raced across the Atlantic. I've done a number of fast nets. It's kind of always the same, a little bit of anticipation, checking up on the weather, because you do want to get off. I mean, I hadn't set out, it wasn't my overall objective to win this race, but I do want to be competitive and take it seriously. So you're checking on the weather, you're making sure you've got everything on the boat, because quite often you leave something behind. And I remember Mark Slatts left gloves behind, other people left important things behind. It's very easy to do that. So I had good support from my team, from Clara and other team members, helping with all of those things. Starting in Sables-d'Olonne is fantastic. The locals here are so enthusiastic. And then I had a lot of friends and family there as well, and that's all quite emotional. I had my daughters and granddaughter and wife Claire all here. So it's a real mixture of emotions and getting ready to go. Then the fantastic departure, which is unique to Sables-d'Olonne, of going out along the ramparts, along the walls. The reception on departure and arrival is just it's without any equal anywhere. I suppose the only equivalent would be walking up the 11th hole on a golf course or something like that at the end of a championship. I mean, I've never experienced anything like it. And then building up to the start, which was slightly confusing because there were an awful lot of spectator boats and they didn't all stay in the places they were supposed to be. And trying to find the start line was no GPS or anything like that. So that's probably where you needed the GPS most, was just to find where to start.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
But got there and got away on a good start, knowing full well that we were heading off into some pretty ugly weather. In boats like these, it's very rarely going to pay to go fast in the wrong direction, to go and hunt down wind or change a system, or to go for the speed. It's a question of just plugging pretty straight for the end. That's the sort of thing you don't want creeping up on you in the middle of the night. On our trip around the world, we don't get to visit anywhere, but we do get to see some amazing headlands. Sunrise on the 9th of September on Clara. Another Galician Cape rounded, and Cape Finisterre in the distance is just about the next one and last one in this series of roundings. Easy job in a nice stable sail loft on a flat floor. It's a little complicated on the boat that's rocking and rolling. All done. All we need now is some wind. That's Cape Finisterre, or Finiterre Terra. The end of land, the furthest point west in Spain, and therefore the furthest point west on mainland Europe. Today's day 8 of Golden Globe. So that makes it Monday, which is time for the weekly safety call, so I might try and record that in just a bit. In the meantime, I've picked up a passenger on board who's trying to hide away from what the remnants of tropical anticyclone Daniela. Well, everything's okay on board, except I have to announce that I have a stowaway, so I may be disqualified. If the weather had been kind, we'd already be off Lanzarote for the first film drop, but it's been anything but kind. We've had contrary winds and strong winds at that, solidly now since the start. But yesterday it turned, we got through the centre of the low and we're able to head downwind direct for the Canaries, or at least as close as we can tell at this stage, direct to the Canaries. This is coming in towards Lanzarote for the first film drop of GGR 2022.
Northwest 1 or 2 meters swell. Tenerife, Dromera coastal waters. Tenerife. At west coast, around to the ELA data, northeast 4 or 5 flight. At northeast coast, around...
Right, Clara standing by on 69.
Yeah, GGR control 69.
Looking very good. Hello! Hey guys! So how you feeling?
Good,
Yeah.
good. Had a few days of nice weather, some sunshine, time to dry things out, get a bit sorted on the boat.
Yeah.
So yeah, all good. And I had some good
Okay.
company with Tapio for the last couple of days, which was really
You know
nice.
you're winning? You know you're the first boat?
So it's rumoured, yeah, Tapio was in touch with somebody, which is fantastic, yeah.
You look a bit tired. Is that because you're steering all the time because you wanted to be here for Tapio?
You're keeping me awake. It's past my bedtime. Normally I'd be asleep by now. So the next stretch and up until the doldrums, that should be some of the nice sailing. I'm looking forward to some flat sailing and finishing a few jobs and getting things sorted before we get down south. I mean, it's not a very complicated routine. It's just eat, sleep, sail, repeat. On board Clara, day 15, so just over 2 weeks in. We got past the Canaries, heading down to Cape Verde Islands, but the trade winds that are reliable, steady winds normally at this time of the year just aren't there. So at the moment we're drifting and sails are slamming above. There's nothing to be done to make any progress, so time to get on with some jobs. So the drill's still working for now, and in the workshop in Clara, here goes. a little later on we're going to get a bit of an update. At the moment we're shooting down as fast as possible to try and get ahead of the track of this hurricane, which is forming off Africa. So at the moment we're on track, based on the latest information, on track to get ahead of it, which is a very good thing. So this is tonight's catch. So we've got about 7 pretty big ones, good sardine size, and then some tiddlers. I'm not going to mess around with the tiddlers, they'll go back, be committed to the deep, and I'll try a few of the big ones and report back. Reputedly they're similar to sardines but potentially tastier, but cooking facilities on board are fairly limited, so we'll see how it goes. First dolphins since Biscay. We're now good work distance between Cape Verdes and the doldrums, around about 11 degrees north. So these are different to the ones we saw in Biscay. I'm not an expert, but they blow just as they're coming to surface, so it makes an impressive sound. 30th of September, on board Clara. We hear talk about blocks of weed, sargasso weed, sargasso seaweed. This is what it looks like. You can see there are all sorts of things caught up in it, including quite a lot of wildlife. There are some traditions one likes to observe when embarking on a trip of this nature. One of those is that on crossing the equator, one toasts Neptune, the king of the seas. So on this occasion, having already passed the equator once, I don't have to do the full initiation. So just going to toast Neptune, drink to his health, and offer him a drink. So here goes. To Neptune, and passage of the equator on the 5th of October 2022 in Golden Globe Race. Thank you, Neptune. Some for the boat and a bit for me. This is the island of Trinidad in the South Atlantic. It's a turning mark for GGR 2022. We have to go around it before heading down south and on to Cape Town. End of week 7, 23rd of October, and hopefully in under 2 weeks be in Cape Town, but that's very much dependent on what the weather's got in store for us. That's at least repaired, the hole's gone. Let's see how that gets on. More pictures of sunsets, another amazing sunset.
Yeah, he's going to anchor over in the bay. Okay, yeah. So, wow, there's Table Mountain. Yeah, we're just the little fan club. There's about 12 boats here from the club, from the Royal Cape Town Yacht Club, and we're in their rib at the moment, which is fantastic. They've been very supportive, and quite a view of Table Mountain. So what are you missing? It's the usual question. Anything, you're into the routine now, it's just life at sea?
I mean, it's life at sea. Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens around the corner, because of course that's all new to me.
Yeah.
Missing friends and family, obviously. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
And I haven't bought enough books, and I've run out of gherkins, cornichon.
No.
Yeah. So there are a few things that are.
I remember when I got here in the BOC, I thought, wow, I'm a BOC sailor. Do you feel like a GGR sailor now?
I haven't actually been around any capes yet.
Yeah, right. Okay. So that's the next one.
Yeah.
So what's your emotion in terms of the next leg? You know, this is the big one, you might say, going into the Southern Ocean. How do you feel about it? You know, what do you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready for it. I mean, it's what we've been sort of preparing for mentally. Whether we're really prepared is another matter, and I guess it depends what we get.
Yeah.
So I'm just slightly disappointed. I'm a week behind schedule, and I'm slightly worried that my friend who's coming out to see me in Hobart might be tied up in Christmas by the time we get there.
Yeah, everyone's about a good week or more behind where we all thought it'd be.
Yeah,
and
well, it's that little trip we did down south.
Yeah, lots of different ones.
Are you already missing fresh food?
I was missing that day too. This is leaving Cape Town after photo drop, and then that's where we're off around Cape Good Hope, just round the corner. Today's the first day I'd say we're really in the Southern Ocean. 2.5 days out of Cape Town, so not even down in the roaring 40s, but these are roaring 40s. Left Cape Town about 5 days ago. Today's this evening's a bit of a celebration. Celebrate the passing of each of the Great Capes. Cape Good Hope, which is one of the Great Capes, and Cape Agulhas, which is actually the more southernmost part of Africa. And there you get warm, very salty water coming from the Indian Ocean in a very strong current. So there is a bit of a tradition not to celebrate passing Cape of Good Hope until one is well clear. Super tankers and big ships have been lost. It throws up huge waves when you get strong westerlies going against the easterly current. It just creates mountains of seas. I have a nice compilation of messages from family and from friends, and the drink is port for every cape that we pass to port. Cheers. And the next one is Cape Lewin off Australia in well, it was 6,000 miles, it's now 5,500 miles time. Today's a day for reflection. Yesterday we learnt that Tapio had set off his EPIRB, that's his emergency alarm system. It will be a shocking time for him, the experience, but the loss of the boat and everything else. Life on board Clara in the Southern Ocean. Get your exercise just hanging on and walking around and cooking and sleeping. Almost 7 weeks now since leaving Cape Town. It's a very isolated, desolate place, the Southern Ocean. But this is what landfall looks like, and it's always very exciting. It's great to see land. Nice to be on the other side of a camera for a change.
Yeah, roger that. It looks worse than it actually is when you get close, but it's on the with your port side over by the breakwater. Okay. How do you feel now that you're here?
It's a big relief to be here.
Yeah.
There were times over the last week that I said, why do we have to do these gates? Because every time we go around a gate, we run into a massive high pressure system.
Yes. You're halfway now. You're sort of heading home. You know, what's your impression? You know, what are you, your emotions? You know, looking forward to what? You know.
Yeah, well, I mean, looking forward. I mean, the big one is to get round the next cape.
Yeah.
Which is 6,000 odd miles away.
Yeah.
So always a bit of trepidation going back down into the Southern Ocean because it deserves respect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Indian Ocean was interesting, not quite what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Not quite perhaps what it normally is. Yeah. So I mean that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Obviously I was really chipper about 2 weeks ago when I thought I had a pretty good lead in the race in terms of the race.
Yeah.
But the ultimate objective is to get round and do the turn. But having found myself with a bit of a lead, naturally you kind of want to try and look after it. And now I've effectively lost it all, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had any frights at all except for the little trip up the mast. And the other ones are just things that you think, oh, damn, that's the end of the race, and then you think about it and find a solution.
Yeah. What do you reckon the biggest seas and winds you saw all the way across?
Not huge. I mean, to be honest, I didn't see anything more than a sustained 35.
Yeah.
I mean, the first boat I've seen since Agulhas Bank, 5,500 miles away, was at the fishing.
The nets.
Fish farms.
Fish farms. Yeah.
That's the first sign of life.
Yep.
Human life or boat of any sort that I've seen in 6 weeks.
Yeah, cool.
which is quite interesting. It's a remote place.
Yeah, absolutely. So Simon's here and Kirsten's coming, and so is Abolish and all the rest. See ya. Bye bye.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye. Bye bye. Christmas in the Tasman Sea aboard Clara. All I seem to be missing is the Christmas turkey and some company. Happy Christmas to all. Here we go. Oh, and off we go. Well, it floats. Oh, and it's sailing. Well, let's see what happens. Goodbye tender to Clara. See if you make it to New Zealand or anywhere else. We get to see some of those beautiful and remote parts of the world. To see but not to touch. Feel like a child. This is Stewart Island, Southwest Cape. I always wondered how fast a seal can swim. And the seal chasing me, maybe he's after my log, or he's just being friendly. As ever, I think the camera will completely flatten these waves. It's not going to look that impressive or alarming. And to be honest, it's not. The boat's handling it well. Post knockdown or rogue wave attack off Cape Horn. So what happened in the knockdown, the critical item is the hydrovane wind vane steering, looking a little depleted there. We've got some parts being flown in, but customs as they are in Chile, they're being flown in personally by my team. Wife and team manager Clara and joint team manager Paul are both coming out, which is fantastic. Brilliant support from Howdens, my supporting partner in this venture, who are doing the logistics, arranging all of that, which is brilliant. So ultimately, after 2 days of trying, I turned round and came north, back up the Pacific. And in a few days time I'll be returning back again, doing all those miles again.
an extra couple of thousand miles just to add, as if it wasn't far enough around the world.
So I thought I made a bit of an error of judgment here. In previous races where I've sailed solo or two-handed, I've never been short of things to do on the boat, because there's always been sailing to do, repairs, trimming, whatever. And actually on this race, it's something that people should be aware that that time does hang on your hands, particularly in the Southern Ocean when for days on end I'd be just sailing with only a mainsail because the headsail wouldn't, you couldn't fill it properly, and the motion of the boat was so uncomfortable that really you were better off just staying down below and checking half a dozen times a day. And I'd completely miscalculated. So it was lucky I had a stop off in Chile and I could restock my library of books and things. So I was listening to music, reading books, doing crosswords, doing Sudoku, those sort of things, and sleeping as much as I could.
With the Andes in the background, eh? Love it. Yeah, thanks so much for all the help. Peaceful, calm evening on a remote mooring buoy in the Chilean waters. Today's the 16th of February, Thursday. The gales from the south that have been present for the last 2 or 3 days should subside. So I'll be sad to leave my little anchorage here, but it really is time to go. And I'm looking forward to getting back en route now, down to the Cape Horn and then up the Atlantic to the finish. We've identified a weather window which might get us round Cape Horn without excessive wind conditions. Being optimistic there, but have to be optimistic. So with that in mind, it's full speed ahead at the moment. We're doing something around 7 knots, reaching in 25 knots of wind to try and make good on that weather window. First sight of Cape Horn. Complete isolation, except for a Stocking Great cruise liner that's just turned up to go around the Horn and put into Ushuaia. So much for remote places. Well, we've sailed all the way around the world. Well, almost all the way around the world. And this is what we came for. Over my shoulder is Cape Horn, the mythical Everest of sailing, the pinnacle, and it doesn't disappoint. Wind's picked up a bit this afternoon, fairly stormy old day. This is a South Atlantic gale down by the Falklands, but there's a big difference in terms of the nature of the seas. Just down from the equator, should be crossing the equator early hours of the morning tomorrow, but that all depends on the weather. Behind it looks glorious trade wind sailing. In front it's a rather different picture. Hello. It's dawn on Wednesday, 26th of April. The Golden Globe Race 2022 is just about coming to an end for me on Clara. That direction is Les Sables-d'Olonne. Very near to the end now.
I mean, that was the objective, was to bring the boat back, to come back, to do the race. Otherwise, it would have been unfinished business. And that would have set up a conflict, because this was my one-off opportunity to do it. There was not going to be a repeat. So finishing was absolutely paramount importance. And frankly, yeah, I was disappointed. I had to stop and make repairs to a hydrovane. But ultimately, even during the race, that disappointment didn't last for long. And I'm more than happy that I got round safely, brought the boat back, and ticked the box that there was the ambition that's been driving me for sort of 50 years. It tailed off for quite some time because I really thought it wasn't going to happen. And it was only 6 years ago that I realised that there was an opportunity. If they're considering doing it and they're ready for it, I'd absolutely encourage people to do it. It's a fantastic experience.
Welcome to Les Sables-d'Olonne. Does it feel good to be back?
What you can't skimp on is the preparation. Give yourselves at least 2 years.
Apparently he wants to do it again. No, he doesn't.
And my preparation was 4 years, and I used most of that 4 years in preparing. By the time you bought the boat and done all the preparation, reinforced it, you don't want to be rushing it and in a panic at the last minute. The race itself is in many ways the easiest part of it. If you're an experienced sailor, you take what comes, and that's what it's all about. But it is the easiest part, the preparation, getting to the start line. That's the toughest part. If you look at the daily runs, I don't have any of the 20 fastest daily runs. So I wasn't the fastest. What I was incredibly consistent, both in terms of the course that I was sailing, but also I'd optimised the boat along with some help from sailmakers and the boat preparers with me. I was doing 99% of the boat preparing. But what we'd worked on doing was getting a boat that was going to work well in all conditions. So I think in light weather I was pretty fast. In heavy weather I was okay. I wasn't the fastest by any means. I know that Kirsten and Abhilash had daily runs that were substantially 10% faster than the fastest I ever did. But consistently I was sitting at a speed of very close to the hull speed of the boat, very often sailing at a bit more than 6 knots in whatever the conditions, light weather, heavy weather. So it was that and sailing a very direct course. I sailed, despite doing a detour that cost me about, it was a 2,000 mile detour, 2,400 mile detour, but it cost me in general terms about 1,500 miles, but I still sailed less miles than anybody else, despite making that detour. When I was back as a young lad, back in the 60s, 70s, that was my big ambition. I wanted to sail in dinghies and do all sorts of other things, which I carried on doing. But the ambition was to sail around the world via the 3 Capes following on. I really thought that opportunity had gone because I'm very much an amateur sailor. I work for a living and sail for the pleasure, and I've never sailed professionally before. After that original Golden Globe, there were few opportunities. It quite quickly generated into the Vendée Globe, which suddenly the budgets became millions of pounds, and it had to be a career. It was for professional sailors. So it was only when the Golden Globe came back again in 2018 that it became accessible for people like me. And so thinking about it for 4 years, the opportunity was right for me in 2022. So that's the inspiration.
There's only about 220 people who've done it, and if you want to take on the toughest challenge there is, that's it.
The Sunday Times Golden Globe will be awarded to the first non-stop circumnavigator of the world.
I can remember someone coming up to me and saying, "You, this Johnny who thinks he can sail solo non-stop around the world." And I said, "We're going to try it."
It was the first ever round the world yacht race.
You know, out of the 9 entries, only 1 finished.
But to rerun it under the same conditions makes it very, very interesting. So you're really going back in time.
It's not something you do with your mind at this point. You do with your heart and you just try with yourself.
This is the longest sport event in sport history.
If anyone ever says this is ridiculous, he's being reckless, I'd just say, sorry, he's not. He's being a real seaman. There'll be people that'll say, oh, the boats aren't safe. Do you have to spend $1 million to buy a 60-footer that does all this fancy stuff? Does the little guy not go? There's no way.
The race has held that appeal because these grand authors made it sound really attainable.
We're putting in half of everything we own in this race, and it'd be nice to have something left at the end.
Miss! Just look at the devastation. Single-handed sailors don't obey rules, so it's a recipe for disaster.
Don't come in.
I can't make a jury rig. The only thing that's left is a hull.
I was just praying somebody would get there before I would.
I never thought I was going to see him again.
We started with 18 and we're now down to 7.
So you're still having fun then? Not to come here, it's very difficult.
We don't need millions, to do sailboat racing. We don't need all that modern technology to fulfill a dream.
I'm going to be comfortable, but I'm going to do it.
He hasn't given up, that's the bottom line.